You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
The Church of Mavis Radio Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of host Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans for allowing me to give you a show on Sunday nights and Tuesday nights, 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Hi, Heidi. Good to see you, hon. And I know there was a couple other announcements. Oh, yeah. Don't forget, my dear friend CL, the Gateway Podcast, she will not be having a show tonight. You know, I do believe she's a little bit under the weather, but she is going to play a repeat one. So after this, just go over. Hey, what's up, Mr. Wojo? Thank you for that compliment. Look at that compliment, just like that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking good tonight. I'm looking good. But so if you're not busy, afterwards, just go over and watch the show that she had on. And go from there. Give her some love, man. Give her some love. So if anybody doesn't know, it's my birthday tomorrow. Hi, Sebastian. Good to see you. It's my birthday tomorrow, and I don't know. Every year comes my day for my birthday and nothing changes. Nothing changes at all. But I have some stuff. Thank you, Michelle. So I just want, the last 3 weeks have been a really crazy week. 3 weeks. Okay. Well, first of all, before I get into it, we finally broke 80 degrees today. It was 85. Oh my goodness. It was hotter than hell. Oh, it was so damn hot. Hey, Tim, good to see you. Hey, Michelle. Thank you. And Irish greetings to Sean for his birthday. Thank you, Sebastian. I appreciate that. Heidi said, happiest early birthday wishes. You are shining bright. I thank you. Thank you, Tim. But the last 3 weeks have been awful weird. There's something out there in the air, in the universe, where whatever you want to call it, and it's really bringing a lot of people down. And it's making people angry at each other. And you could just feel the anger, the unpleasantness, the hurt, the pain in other people. And you're like, what the hell's going on? Everything you touch breaks. Oh, Heidi says she saw 55 degrees at 5:55 today, cold and stormy here in Boulder. Hey, Donna, good to see you, hon. But speaking of numbers, real quick, there, Heidi, do you know I have seen 1111 the last 3 days? I've seen it. Craziness, man. Craziness. But one day we're going to get Heidi on this show, one of these days, and she's going to talk all about the synchronicities and stuff like that. Because I am so crazy to learn all about it. But what's and then it's strange because there's a lot of people out there who don't realize that this is all going on. So Kurt says, "Hey Sean, good to see your brother and everyone else tonight. Hope everyone's having a great one." I sure am. Heidi says, "Secret." I cannot pronounce that word. Okay, forgive me, ladies and gents. I'm from Pittsburgh. We have our own accent. Kurt will tell you. We have our own accent and we have our own way of talking, so it's kind of hard. But what's really worrisome for me is that there's a lot of people out there who are empathic, who are empaths, and they can pick up on all these negative feelings from everybody. And to be honest with you, I have not picked up any happiness coming from nobody. And I've tried, to make people smile, give them, talking about, they got their hair done, how beautiful their hair looks, and trying to lighten up the situation. But you know what? I can't even fathom what goes on in these people's minds, to be honest with you. River, hey River, good to see you, honey. Good evening, Sean and everyone. And yes, absolutely, I feel being an empath is very much a part of the supernatural and paranormal. Thank you. It's part of a strong intuition and divine discernment, being part of our DNA and our heart, minds, and souls. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad you think, because we're going to get into that a little bit more later on in the show. Heidi says, feeling all uncomfortable from the bullshit that happened the other day. That was terrible, man. That did over in Boulder, Colorado. That wasn't cool at all. But I feel for the people that don't know what's going on. I believe everybody's empathic. They are. They sure are. But I didn't really explain to them what was going on. Now, I don't know about you. Okay. Hey, Richie B, good to see you, sir. Thank you for popping in tonight. And it seems that we have to awake people on what's going on. You ever heard about good versus evil? Well, what's going on right now? It's happening out in the universe. And when it happens out in the universe, it comes down and it deals with us. Thank you, Thank you, Richie B. Good to see you. Oh, Richie, Mr. Wojo, you guys and Tim Vogel, they got their thing coming up this weekend. The Cobble Critter thing going on. down there, up there in Massachusetts. Yeah, they're all going to be there. And that's pretty cool. I wish I could make it, but unfortunately, I got to work. River says, I feel strongly something major is on the horizon, and I feel it's more with Earth. Yeah, okay. Mr. Rose just said it's the Cobble Mountain Critter Festival. Okay. And, but and it's just insane. I mean, if we go and warn people about it, okay, we go warn people about it, they're going to think we're nuts. Going up to a person and say, you know what, there's a war going on between good and evil, and, please watch yourself, be prepared for yourself, and all kinds of good crap, you know. Um, they're going to say you belong in a funny farm or a mental hospital. Heidi says planting this seed, but also mindful of the possibility interfering with one's karma, protecting my energy always first. I got to, and you know what? That's the total truth behind that, Heidi. We all got to protect us. We got to protect us. So is anybody else feeling it out there going on? Um, all the crap it just seems like everywhere um, people go. There's always anger. There's always hate. There's no happiness. No one's smiling. People stabbing each other in the back just to get ahead of something that is not there. I was promised $5,000 check. I probably won't see that. Neither will you unless a miracle happens. And it's shit like that. Um, you make promises to people, and all of a sudden you say no. Well, I'm supposed to have a $5,000 check. Will I get it? I don't know. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. And that's okay. I have no control over that situation. And, maybe about 20 years ago, I would be going off the deep end because that's how I was. But now it's just like, well, if it comes, it comes, you know. But what bothers me is that it really destroys other people's minds. And that's the killer of the whole thing. It is. It just destroys other people's minds. So we have to be aware of what's going around our surroundings. Okay. You look at people and you're thinking, okay, are they mad at me? What's going on? Why won't people talk to me? Blah, 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 blah. And you have to remember, everybody, it's not you. It's just how the shit is going on out there in the universe. River says, I feel lack of empathy and love and authentic understanding is happening. People are just stuck or go in silent mode. Michelle says there's some negative things going on. I try to avoid it, walk around it. And I love what Michelle just wrote. She says, sometimes I need to walk through to grow from it. That's the truth. But when you walk through it, Michelle, you seriously need to protect yourself when you do that. We have to help people out. Absolutely. If we can't communicate with them, we can give them our energy. It's funny and it's strange, okay? So when the show started, I had about 15 people in this room. Everything was going good, right? And then I mentioned the $5,000 check. Now I'm down to 4. It's crazy. I can't talk politics on my show. I don't like to talk about it. But I brought that up, how people promise people things and they don't deliver on it, and it just gets them more depressed. And the more depressed people get, the more empaths get destroyed, your brains. Donna says, so true, always looking for something to attack, for simple comments is taken as negative statements or feelings like everyone is angry all the time. Um, River says, Heidi says, proven people with tools and techniques. True. The thing about that, Heidi, you can, show them the tools and the techniques, but you know what, buddy? No, they probably won't listen. River says it's everywhere. Nobody hardly comes outside or talks. None of my neighbors talk or know each other. And that's the same way here. Now, is this the last stand for the negative, for all those negative energies going on? Is this the final battle between good and evil? And I'm wondering. I don't think so, but I think this is like one of the major battles that we're going through. I walk down my street and, we have a bunch of young kids now, which God bless them. My mom was young when we moved into this house. Heidi says the movie The Stand by Stephen King came to mind. Well, we're making a stand. We're making that stand. We have to take the stand. We have to do it. We have to fight it. My question to everybody out there is, how do you fight this? How do you deal with it? Do you just let it go and just protect yourself and don't care about other people? Or do you go and face it head on and deal with it to help other people? I thought that's what empaths were supposed to do. Rich. Let's see what we got here. Richie B says most of it's because right where we are now, people don't talk face to face or even verbally, and a lot of things get misconstrued due to text. It's easier to argue these days because the context isn't clear through a phone. So true, sir. So true. Mr. Wojo says it starts by loving yourself first, then share with others and pass it that love to help others that don't have anything. Don't be selfish. And Heidi says, keep boundaries and stand in your light. You can only take those boundaries for a certain length of time. It's really destroying a lot of people out there, what's going on in the world. It really is. I've seen a lot of good people, a lot of friends, close friends, just don't talk no more. I lost my best friend today. Not that he passed away, but we don't talk no more. And I can't figure out why. And I don't want to go down rabbit holes to figure out why. I mean, it's his choice. Was I hurt? Yeah, I was hurt. But I caught myself going back into the old Sean again. And I don't want to do that. I'm not a good person. I am not a good person when I'm in the old Sean again. Hey, Earl, good to see you. But that's how I feel. In my question to everybody, besides keep ourselves in the light, what's really sad for me is that other people who don't realize that's good, that this is happening, that they're getting pounded, and they don't understand why. Heidi says, I went through a time where I didn't even want to look at people, would rather say hi to their dog. But as lessons and blessings pass through time, I understand that everything is connected as above. So below, we are all one. And we are. But I believe that mainstream media or all other things, what people drilled into our heads, that it's okay to fight. It's okay to be mean. No, it isn't. It is not nice to do that. When I started doing podcasts over 5 years ago, I always had a wish, and I prayed. I prayed for, hey, Scotsman, good to see you. I'm glad you're here, though. It's okay to be late. You're allowed to be late here. I'm sorry by me. But I always prayed for people. I always prayed that we can go for one day in this whole world, all of Earth, and have no war, have no fighting, everybody getting along together, no killings, no stabbings, no robbings. And I still keep praying for that because I know deep in my heart it's going to happen. One day it will happen. Maybe I might be dead. I don't know. But eventually I believe it's going to happen. Kurt says it's hard to change how people have been brought up from childhood and get them to see the way they think might not be the right way. It is a good thing to talk about to help someone who thinking might be a little off their past traumas. And Squatsman says people thrive on that, and they do. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I did a long time ago, but I learned some really hardcore lessons that, and I look back, that's the weirdest thing about this whole thing. Okay. I look back and I was one of them ignorant assholes. I'll admit it. I was terrible. I used people. I hurt people because that was my nature. That's what I was raised with. Until one day, someone gave me a set of tarot cards, and I gave them a reading. And my life changed. And I started work on myself. Found out that, you know what? I'm a good person. I'm a loving and caring person. I'm not that bad person that everybody would come up to me and say, you're no good, Sean. You're no good. You're just mean and ignorant. That's all you are. And people used to say that. I come to realize I am not that person anymore. And it took me a long time to understand that. It took me a long time to break that mold in which other people made the mold for me, what they thought of me. Heidi says, just had a thought. Maybe it's just humans, Earth as a school of learning. That could be, Heidi. That could be.
I'll be right down. I'm just getting my room ready.
That's my brother, if you can hear him.
Sorry, what?
No rest for the weary.
I'm bringing it up.
Oh, God. Hold
My clothes are laying.
on. Hold on. Okay, this is better. Okay, so y'all don't have to hear that. But that's where I'm at today with this. This is where I'm at. We all need to be happy. We all need to help people and not hurt them. Kurt says, that's awesome, Sean. Thanks for sharing this. Much appreciated, brother. Well, you're welcome. It don't hurt to help. Hey, Sparky, good to see you, buddy. It doesn't take much to help somebody. Even if you go out of their way to help somebody or say something nice to them and they just don't want nothing to do with it, you know what? You made yourself happy. And I do that. I keep reminding myself that. And I look at the younger generation, not the Gen Xers or the Gen, I don't know, the Gen Zs, Xers, Gen Y, Z, PLUS, whatever they are called. But here's what drives me freaking nuts. Hugs to you too, Mr. Wojo. Here's what really gets me mad about that whole situation. They treat their parents like shit. They treat their parents like shit. They don't give a damn. All they want is their phone. They want money. They don't want to work for it. Nobody wants to work now. And the parents go on with it. I'm not judging the parents. It is not in my spot. Hey, Carla, good to see you, honey. Thank you. Carla says, hey, brother, you give a little and get a little. Get a lot. True. But who knows? I just not like the way kids treat their parents and their grandparents. That's not right. Not the way I was raised. Man, I got my ass kicked if I talk to people like that. If I talk to everybody in here knows about that deal. You talk to your mom and dad about that, you got your ass kicked. No questions asked. Squatsman says, I paid for a woman's grocery with 2 babies because she didn't have enough and she cussed me out for doing that. It's crazy, Squatch, isn't it? It's crazy. That was nice of you to do that. That was really, really sweet for you to do that, buddy. That's crazy. That you're a good man, Squatchman, for doing that. Sparky says respect for themselves, for the elders, for other people and property has changed a lot.
Mom, give me 10 minutes, please.
It sure has. It has changed a lot. Squatchman said people wasn't raised like us. And I don't know. But you know what? We're coming right now. Heidi says, agree, guys. People's morals, ethics, acting like an adult professional like. Squatsman. So true, Heidi. All right, listen, everybody. It is the bottom of the hour. It's at 30 minutes in, so I'm going to go and I'm going to take a little break, come back, and then we can discuss the question that I have up there underneath my beautiful face. Do you think empathy could be paranormal? I'll see you in about 70 seconds. Let me play here.
you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Since the 2018 tragedy, whispers have surrounded the Watts home. Unknowingly, even police body camera footage has caught unexplainable activity. Some believe the spirits of Shanann and her daughters remain. Let's delve into the theories that ask not just what is haunting places like this, but why. Join us in the chat, we want to hear your theories.
Well, welcome back, everybody, and I hope you guys got to do what you had to do. Start the second part of the show where I'll ask the question, but before that, a couple announcements to make. I want to thank UPRN Radio, UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans, for allowing me to give you this hour and Sunday night. My shows are on Sunday and Tuesday nights, 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Miss C.L. Thomas, she's not feeling a little bit under the weather tonight, so she won't be on her show tonight. But listen, everybody, she is having a rerun. So after my show, go and check out the rerun again. It was a good show at the time. At the time, it still is a good time. But she's got a rerun on her, and hopefully she'll make an appearance in the chat room. And if anybody else out there would like to come on the show and talk about paranormal, UFOs, aliens, whatever you want to talk about, please send me a message and I'll get you on. And we can talk about what you want to talk about. Sure, my show is called Into the Night, and it's basically paranormal, Bigfoot, UFOs, aliens, and cryptids. But if there's something that's really bothering you that you really need to let go and start talking about, or it could be talking about those 4 or 5 different, things, cryptids, UFOs, aliens, and the paranormal. Write me a message, okay, and we'll get you on. And if anybody has a paranormal group that would like to sponsor this show, again, or any kind of group that wants to be, a sponsor for my show, I truly appreciate it. Just, again, give me a message, and we can talk about it and see if we can go from there. I do want to thank Runa for sponsoring my show for Bigfoot Month, which was a great success. This is Paranormal Month, and I'm looking for people who want to come on and talk paranormal with me. So if you're wanting to do that, feel free. Give me a call or send me a message, and we can talk paranormal. Whatever you want to do. This is my show, yes, but it's also your show too. That's the way I look at Into the Night. My show, but it's also your show, because I got a bunch of good people who come in the chat rooms. There's hey Mish, good to see you, buddy. All right, so we had a bunch of people come in here, and Let's see what we got going on here in the chat. Okay, Mr. Wojo says it's because old school folks are dying out. That's true. The new generation of kids are lazy and don't want to put in the work to get what they want. And you're so true, buddy. That is so true. It's okay to sleep in. It's okay to sleep in this. But you know what? So we're going to jump to the question I have in store there on the bottom. Do you think empathy could be paranormal? I would like to hear your answers. So I was researching that tonight, and I found something. I put that question in, and I lost it. Well, we'll see. Show more. Okay, empathy versus paranormal. Empathy involves understanding and sharing the feelings of others, often on a visceral level. Paranormal abilities, on the other hand, are often associated with the ability to perceive or interact with the supernatural, such as sensing spirits or communicating with the dead. Here we go. Here's a good one. The scientific explanation. Research suggests that empathy is rooted in the human brain and is influenced by factors like mirror neurons and the ability to imagine others' perspectives. Bullshit. Empath as a descriptive term. The term empath is often used to describe individuals who are highly sensitive to others' emotions, sometimes experiencing their feelings intensely. This heightened sensitivity can be attributed to individual differences in personalities and neurobiology, not supernatural abilities. And the role of intuition, while some people might perceive empathy as a form of intuition, it is important to remember that intuition is not necessarily paranormal. Intuition can be based on subconscious processing of information and past experience and is the nature cognitive function. What a bunch of bullshit. What a bunch of bullshit. No, I'll just say that right out here. Excuse my language on that. Sparky says an empathy vampire is a term used to describe someone who uses empathy, sensitive and emotional vulnerability as a tool to exploit or drain others of their energies. True. The EVRs of empathy. True. I agree with you a little bit on that, Sparky. But again, anything that has to pertain for the paranormal, like this empathy, is it paranormal? You always have to have your scientific people involved with it. And they're allowed to voice their own opinion. So no matter what we do, I personally think that empathy is paranormal because we can read people, we can look for spirits, we can see spirits, we know how the spirits are feeling. And the people who go out and research Bigfoot, they feel what the Bigfoot is feeling and what they're doing. But you always have to have that one scientific dude or dudettes or whatever you want to have to throw a monkey wrench into the thing. Am I knocking the scientific field? A little bit. Sparky says some are just empathic, others have empathy as they feel others' feelings without wanting to ask them to. So yes, paranormal for some. Heidi says, I do too, a stronger emotion. Thank you for sharing that, Sparky. Thank you for sharing that, Heidi. But what the whole deal is that, especially in the scientific community when it comes to anything paranormal. You know, they just don't want nothing to do with it. You know, our way's the wrong way and their way's the right way, which I think is a bunch of bullshit, to be honest with you. Even going on today, it's the same way. When I started PPS back in 2006, there was a lot of fighting between the scientific and the spiritual. And we kept on asking, why can't we work together? Why does there have to be, a tug of war? Why can't people just come together and just, excuse my language, F and work on it? Work on it together to get the answers. Why can't they? But no. Mish says, does the word empath come from emotional path? I don't know. Only once the coffee. Well, put down the pot, honey, and then you got it. You got about 10 minutes to put that whole pot down. Does the word empath come from emotional path? It could be. I really don't know. I don't have an answer for you, hon, on that. Sparky says if it works for people that hear angels or others in religion, it has to be the same in the paranormal realm. Just saying. And I totally agree with you, Spark, and you're right. You are so right on that. It's true. People hear angels. People hear demons. And a lot of these scientists, they want to say something like, well, it's in your subconscious mind. Well, if you've been in a field like I've been for a long time and everybody else out there, it's not your subconscious talking. I believe in my heart that we don't have a subconscious. I know when I go and meditate that I clear my whole head of everything, and then I go in and I do what I have to do. What the whole sad part about the whole thing is that, hey, Daniel, good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. That's great. Mish says, my partner hears angels when I talk. Okay. He might use a different word. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one there, Mish. But people just want to come in and throw their 2 cents in. Okay. I don't go out and I broadcast to other paranormal groups that they're doing everything wrong. I don't go and tell the scientists, hey, listen, I don't think that, but I don't judge on what they come up with. It's just that they're ignorant with me. And I just said, okay, if that's how you feel, fine. Not a problem. Sparky says the mainstream science, not all science, as many governments have used that and remote viewing because they dreamed it to be real. True. Why did the military come back, start that deal with remote viewing? That's government. And like in the whole thing of things, the whole cherry pie, everybody should work together. Hold on. River has written something here. Okay. River says, well, someone one time did that from around Christmas time. It was groceries and a gift for my son. And Mom and I were short about 21 and the bill was over 200. They paid the whole bill. I cried and hugged them and told them thank you. But you didn't have to pay the whole bill. They wanted to pay the whole bill. I just kept thanking them. This was like 5 years ago. And there are people out there like that. And see, to me, River, and we talked about this on my show many times. That's an angel on earth that did that for you. That's an angel on earth. I just wish everybody would just like get along and help each other out. My son, he's a scientist. Okay. And we agree and disagree. Miss was right, pay it forward. Me and him, we don't, and what I like about the relationship I have with my son when it comes to the scientific and the paranormal, he respects what I do, what I believe. And in return, I always respect what he does. And we get along. But there are some people out there that just want to press the issue to make a name for themselves. And it shouldn't be right. We should all be working together. Sparky says, well, if you look into it, most non-hostile religions, you can cross all their higher beings with most of the religions. We are all the same at the base. And that's true. Look at the Native Americans, the Lakota Sioux, the Shawnee. They believe that, God, and they believe in the Holy Spirit. The only thing different between that is they have different names for the people that they believe and they pray to. No one's right, no one's wrong. It's just we need to work together. We need to be together. We need to stop the damn fighting. We need to stop the arguing. We need to stop the backstabbing. We need to stop all this bullshit that's going on that's making life really hell for us. Because the more that shit going on out there between all of us, the more the universe and the evil, the negativity out there in the universe is going to feed on that negativity, and it's going to make it worse, and it's going to be hard on everybody. Impasse, non-impasse, whatever. I like what Miss said. Miss said, we are all in this together. Heidi says there are no experts per se. There isn't no experts. We're not. We just got to work to freaking together. But there are people who know more of what's going on and how they can help, what they can do. If we need to sit down and have a drag-out conversation with the scientists or whoever, it don't have to be them. It don't have to be a scientist. It could be anybody out there that has a closed mind. Why can't they open it? What are they afraid of? That they're going to be wrong? Will their ego get destroyed? Of course their ego is going to get destroyed. Mine's been destroyed many, 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 many times. But it's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it to help people. I'm in it to get answers. I have a lot of friends on here. I have a lot of friends, my family on UPRN Talk Radio, other hosts. They're my family. Okay. And sometimes I disagree what they have to say. But I look at it, it's their own opinion. And just like Heidi has her opinion, like Mish has her own, and then Michelle has her own, Kurt has his own, Everybody has their own opinions. But it'd be really, really nice if we could just sit down and listen to them without arguing, and show some damn respect to each and every one of us. Mitch says sometimes it's hard to help people. Of course it's hard. It definitely is hard. But we are at the end of the witching hour. I do believe this, and Heidi says sadly some people can drag you down. That's true, Mitch. Heidi says, can we all respect that? Be civil. I would be in a heartbeat. I would be. But we are at the end of the witching hour, and I want to thank everybody for coming in and watching the show. We had a lot of good comments in the comment section from everybody. It was nice to see new people. It was nice to see old people. You know, my regulars, my guardian angels, I call them. Real quick, Sparky says, when you attack a good man due to his religion, even though he's a good man, with the same respect, honor, morals, and you are not hating the man and what he thinks, you may add a title. Ah, interesting. Why you still have coffee, miss? Okay, I'll let you slide today, but make sure you drink that whole pot before the show comes on. River says, have a beautiful night, Sean and everyone. You have a wonderful night too. Children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug and tell them that you love them. If you have no parents and you have no children, you know, please find somebody and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, don't forget, CL doesn't have a show tonight, but she has a pre-recorded one that she done earlier. So go over and check her show out. And on that, everybody, good night, and I will see you Sunday night.